So before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that I am not going to be reviewing the whole travel series. I'm just going to do the Blushing in Bali palette and then the Love in London palette. Obviously, Devin and I are a smaller channel. We don't get PR, so I didn't want to buy the whole thing. I only wanted to buy what I thought we could add to our collection. So I don't have the Hawaii palette because I just feel like we have a lot of palettes with those kind of neutral and pinky tones in it. So that's why I chose this one. So moving on, obviously you can see I have my base done. I kind of just stopped after my bronzer. So we're gonna go into, like I said, the Blushing in Bali cheek palette. So first of all, the packaging's really cute. Just a light pink with like gold detail. And then you get a really big, sorry, I don't want to blind you. You're going to get like the reflections from my lights. But you get a nice big mirror in here. And then there are the highlight shades and the blush shades. So I'm probably not going to use this as a highlight because obviously it's going to be too dark for me. But definitely something I could use as like an eyeshadow. And it's really pretty. So I'll probably dip into these two right here. So this is the shade Glisten and this is the shade Sunkissed. And I'm not gonna lie, I did dip my fingers in these and they came in the mail because I couldn't wait until I filmed the video, and they are really smooth and look really reflective, so I'm really excited to try out these highlights. So I'm normally someone who likes to spray my face with setting spray first and then kind of let it almost dry and then put on my highlight just to make sure it's really reflective. But since this is a review video, I just want to see how these highlights perform on their own. So I'm going to take my Morphe M510 brush. And again, like I said, just dip into Glisten and Sunkissed. So that's obviously really reflective. And again, like I said, that's not even when they're wet. So this looks really beautiful. I am so excited about this. And sorry, I just realized I forgot to say the prices of the palettes. So they both retail for $16 on BH's website. I don't think I've ever tried anything from BH until now. I've always heard like good things about them. And I see some of their stuff in Ulta a lot, but I haven't never, ooh, my brow's showing. But I had never tried their stuff until now, so I am like super, super excited because this quality so far is amazing. Okay, yeah, so obviously that's stunning. So moving to the blushes. This light shade here, it's called Lychee, I believe is how you pronounce it. This one looks like a matte finish. This middle one, which is called Coral, looks like it has a little bit of like satiny or like reflex to it. And then this one right here, the deepest one called Pomegranate, definitely has a bit of reflex in it. And I'm going to dip into Coral today. And I'm taking that on a BH4 brush. This came in the mail. I guess I spent enough money where they send you like a free brush set. Now, I know some people like to do their blush first and then their highlight. I do it the opposite way, I think, because one time I saw Nikki Tutorials do it and I was like, okay, I have to do it now. But if you don't want to, you know, if you want to switch it, by all means. Alright, so I love that blush as well. I feel like it was super pigmented. It didn't, you know, go on patchy. It was really easy to apply. So far for me, it's a total yes for this palette right here. This is, again, the Blushing in Bali palette. $16 for 3 blushes and 3 highlights that are super high quality is fantastic. I would totally recommend this if you're looking for new highlights and something that you just kind of want to keep all in one palette. I think this is great. It's obviously really great for travel. Again, it's part of the travel series, so of course it would be. It's got the big mirror and it's nice and thin and compact and can fit in the bag. And of course you have all your cheek products in one place, so highly recommend. Alright, next, so moving to the Love in London palette. So again, take the little sleeve thing off. It's like the nice same like thin square packaging, so travel series, good for travel. It's all there. Again, with a nice big mirror, which is great. And then here are all the shadows. So my initial thoughts just looking at it, I feel like you have a nice color range. You have your neutrals. You have some good matte transition shades. The only critique, I think, just by looking at it so far without even having tested out the shadows, my only critique would be I think you need a few more mid-tone nude matte shades. So it looks like you have some lighter ones here. So I would say something like in between, like 1 or 2 shades in between these colors and these colors. Something really mid-tone. The shimmers look beautiful, so if it's anything like how the blush and highlight blended, I have high hopes for this palette. So we're just going to do a quick little look with this palette. I already have my eyes primed and set, so we're just going to jump right in. I think I'm first going to dip into Scone right here. Alright, so first, dipping into this shade, I just want to show you guys, I'm not sure if you can even see it on camera, but there is some kickback. So if that bothers you, just know that there is some fallout or some kickback when you dip your brush in. That doesn't typically bother me. A lot of pigmented shadows tend to have a lot of kickback, like the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palettes. They always have a lot of kickback, and they're always really easy to blend and really pigmented, so it doesn't really bother me. Alright, so have you guys zoomed in? We did set up our softboxes, and I know I will stop talking about this, I swear, but we set up our softboxes, and I feel like still in my viewfinder my lighting looks off, so if it does, I'm very sorry. Anyway, Scone. We're going to start working that just as our initial transition shade right in our crease. This doesn't show up that well on me, just I guess it's kind of close to my skin tone. Alright, next, same brush, let's dip into Cheers right here. Alright, next I'm going to dip into Piccadilly. Also, sorry about my nails, I know they're atrocious. I'm going to take Piccadilly on my Morphe R37 brush. And this is really pigmented, so I really feel like this might have been too much and I only did a little dip, so just be aware that this shade packs the punch, at least on the brush. We'll see how it performs on the eye. And I'm just going to lightly deepen my crease with this color. So yeah, definitely a little goes a long way with these deeper shadows. Definitely add a bit and then build it up because they are pigmented. And I'm using like super light pressure just so I don't mess up my look. Because these, and it's a great thing that these are super pigmented, but if you grab too much on your brush, just make sure you have a light hand so that you don't mess up your whole eye look. But yeah, wow, these are blending out so easily. It's requiring me no effort to blend the shadow out, which is amazing. And then just taking my Morphe M535 just to kind of buff around the edges, make sure I'm not getting too messy. And then taking a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm going to dip into Prestige right here. I'm not going to, spray my brush with setting spray. I'm not going to use my Too Faced Glitter Glue Primer. I really want to see how these perform on their own. First of all, let me just swatch it for you on the back of my hand because it looks creamy. Like, I didn't even have to dip in and like dig around too much. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but it is so buttery. It is so pigmented and just so like creamy and reflective. There is a little bit of fallout again if that bothers you. Just be aware of that, but again, they're just pigmented and like good creamy shadows. So I feel like a little bit of fallout is going to happen, but it's not like where it's too creamy of a shadow that it's like crumbly. I feel like we all have certain shadows in different palettes that are like that. It's not crumbling when I dip into it or when I put it on my eye, but again, there is a little bit of pigment fallout. So I got some fallout and just like swiped the shadow by accident. So again, definitely make sure if you're using this after you do your base that you put down some setting powder or something under your eyes. Next, I'm going to pack some of Biscuit on the outer corner of my eye. Again, not wetting my brush or doing any type of priming to make it more reflective. I just want to see how these eyeshadows work on their own. And so far, they're stunning on their own. Then mixing some of Cheers and Scone, I'm going to run that under my lash line. And then next I'm sweeping more of Piccadilly under my eyes as well. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to pop on some lashes and finish up my lips, and then I will be back to give you guys my final thoughts. But before that, I totally forgot to do my inner corner highlight, so I'm going to pop into Cheeky and put that in my inner corner and under my brow bone. Okay, so final thoughts on these palettes is yes, 100 times over. For the blushing in Bali palette, again, I feel like it's really good for travel. In both palettes, they're pretty slim. You get a really nice big mirror. And for this one in particular, you have all of your highlighters and blushes right in one palette for $16. The highlight is super blinding without having to wet your face with setting spray or anything like that, or wet your brush. So I think that's a win. The blush was super blendable and really pigmented, so again, love that. And then for the London palette, of course, the packaging is just like the Bali palette, so big mirror, nice and thin and good for travel. And the shimmers are super buttery, super pigmented. The mattes were really pigmented and easy to blend as well. There was fallout, of course, for both the matte and the shimmer shades. I actually have a bunch of fallout like right on the tops of my cheeks, which is not a big deal for me. Now that I know that there is fallout in this palette, I will just do my eyes first or put some setting powder under my eyes as I'm doing them. So that's not a big deal for me. That's not something that's like a total no sell for me. They both retail for $16, and like I said earlier, my only critique for the eyeshadow palette is just to have a few more mid-tone browns in here as well. So just a few more transition shades and I think it would be perfect. And that's it for this review. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. I'm at Shauna Greggs and Devin is at DevDevGreggs, and we will see you in our next video.